Hello, folks. How you doing? All right. Have a good one. Uh, I'm talking about the reclamation of knowledge. It's like, well, what you mean reclaim knowledge? Yeah, we're born with it, but it seems that the knowledge that we're born with, well, most of it anyway, has been covered over. You see, and so at birth, a person begins to establish himself as personality. He's taught various things as a child, okay? And this becomes his personality, okay? Now, if a person is taught to be like a king, then he'll act like a king. If he is taught to act like a fool, he will act like a fool. These are personality traits. You see? And it so happens then that these traits are what covers over the knowledge that is within a person. We're born with it. It is covered over by our personality traits. And these traits become so strong, so powerful within a person that the person believes that, hey, this is my true self. He believes that his personality is the true him, the real deal. But it's not. Okay? So here what we want to do, okay, we humans, what we want to do is reclaim the knowledge that we were born with. You see? We want to bring it out. We want to live it. You see? And abandon the personality traits. You see? Now, we have many ways in which this is explained. And one of them is by the egg or the shell of an egg. We see the egg, it's got a shell. We say, okay, the egg. Okay? And also, is it expressed by, let's say, the mummy, or the mummy wrappings wrapped up and so forth and so on? Well, the eggshell is a cover. It covers what is within. It's a form like we say the personality. The personality is like the shell. It covers what is within. The mummy wrappings are like the shell, the personality that covers what is within. Okay? Now, I want to go to a folk tale, a fairy tale. Well, let me mention, though, before I do that, is that the folk tales, the fairy tales, come from the ancient mythology. They are tens and hundreds of thousands of years old. Nothing new. Okay? So, let's go to Humpty Dumpty. All right? Don't close out on me now. Listen to the deal about Humpty Dumpty. So Humpty Dumpty falls off the wall. And he cracks his egg. Egg, personality. Okay? And all the king's horses and all the king's men could not put Humpty Dumpty together again. Well, who were the king's horses and the king's men? His personality traits. You see how they sort of twisted the mythology into the fairy tales? Okay? Well, yes, The king's horses and the king's men could not put Humpty Dumpty together again, meaning that the person has escaped from the shell. Humpty Dumpty cracked the shell, he escaped from the shell, his eggshell, and he became knowledgeable because he broke the shell. Okay? And so all those personalities, traits, the king's horses and the king's men, couldn't put the egg back together because Humpty Dumpty had reclaimed knowledge. And they couldn't deal with it. The personality traits couldn't deal with this knowledge. Therefore, they couldn't put Humpty Dumpty together again, you see. Now, I mentioned the mummy wrappings, okay? Well, these mummy wrappings are like the shell. They hold the true self within, that knowledge we're born with. The mummy wrappings keep it within. Now, people may have seen, for example, where there is a mummy and he raises his hand and it has certain emblems of dominion and sovereignty, and these emblems that he's carrying, that's what they mean. It means that when he breaks free from the mummy wrappings, he has the found knowledge. His knowledge comes forth. And this is displayed by raising the hand with the emblems in his hand, indicating freedom. Freedom from the personality. He has reclaimed his knowledge. Okay? But here's something else about the mummy wrappings. Okay? Now, when we take the living humans, the pharaohs, etc., the high priests, etc., they were embalmed and so forth and so on, and they were wrapped in mummy wrappings. But we're talking about dead people now. These people who were alive died, and they took them and they embalmed them and put the mummy wrappings on them. But how are they going to get free? He's a dead man now. How is he going to break free from the mummy wrappings? Because remember, the mummy wrappings enclose the true self. In this case, we must be talking about the enclosed spirit. Because we're talking about a dead man, an actual dead man. But okay. So these mummies, okay, those that have been found, so forth and so on, have been taken from their tombs, and they have been taken to, basically, Europe, in the museums and laboratories and institutions of Europe, where they put these mummies on display. Okay? But wait a minute. They take their scissors and they cut the mummy wrappings. Do you understand what I'm saying, folks? When the mummy breaks free from his wrappings in the mythology, okay, he has reclaimed his knowledge, and his true self, his true spirit, emerges. So when they took the mummy to Europe and cut the wrappings, they released the soul of the person who was wrapped up in those wrappings. Did the ancients realize this? Yeah. They knew that at a certain time, and a certain age in terms of time, okay, vast periods of time, a new age, 2,000, 3,000 years, 1,000 years, whatever, they knew that these mummies would have been taken from the tombs, and that the pharaoh, priest, whoever he was, wrapped up in these wrappings, will be turned loose. His spirit will be turned loose. And that's what happened. You see, folks, it's the same principle. Same principle as the egg, the shell of the egg, same principle of the mummy wrappings in the mythology, where the individuals seem to have broken free. It's the same principle. And it has to do with the reclamation of knowledge, the true knowledge within. Okay? But it is the personality traits, okay, that puts a stop on this. They become an obstacle. The things that people are taught from childhood puts a stop on this. I'm going to go over something briefly, and it has to do with joy. So we have a person who all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he experiences this extreme feeling of joy. Nothing that he has ever experienced. He hasn't taken any external substance. He experiences this extreme joy. And it starts rising on him. Rising. It rises to the point where he becomes afraid because he realizes that he is not in control of this. This then becomes fear. When he realizes that he's not in control, a fear rises in him. And when fear rises in him, this joy stops right there. And that's it. Okay? But fear is a personality trait. We learn it. Okay? So this requires a purification. Okay? As this person rises, let's say in increments in this joy, and then it gets like out of hand, he becomes afraid, it is because he has reached the level that he has achieved in life, his true spiritual level, that he has achieved in life. That's how far he can go until purification takes place. And that means that he has to get rid of this fear. And as he gets rid of fear and other personality traits, he will rise higher, and higher in terms of this joy that he is experiencing. How much joy, how high he will go relative to this joy, I don't know whether anyone can say. There's probably no limit to it. Okay? But here in this life, a person must purify himself. And this purification is the reclamation of knowledge. Okay? And when a person reaches a certain level, that's where his joy will stop, but then he can purify. It means that he needs to purify himself more. And so he can go level after level in terms of this divine joy, which is knowledge. It's equivalent to knowledge. So a person then cannot take on but so much knowledge at a time. It will come slow, I would say, with some people. Okay? But a person can't withstand but so much of it until he has purified himself of his personality traits. Strange as it may seem. But this is what all the scriptures tell us. This has to do with the awakening. All scriptures speak of the awakening. Well, this is it. In order to experience these heights, different heights of awakening, a person must get rid of his personality traits. Say fear, contempt, hatred, animosities, all that stuff interferes with the reclamation of knowledge, to reclaim the knowledge that we were born with. Can be done in this life. You don't have to wait till you die and in the grave somewhere. It might not happen then. You do it now. People should do it now while they have the opportunity. You see, if they would like to do it, they could. You see. Okay, folks, have a good one, and nice talking to you. And I'd like to talk some more about this reclamation of knowledge. Remember the mummy that has been turned loose, the spirit has been turned loose. You know what I mean? That's something good to recall, okay? Because the spirit is here. It is amongst us now. Okay, folks, have a good one, and I'll get back with you. All right, bye-bye.